Today we'll be painting the fennec fox we created a while ago with polymer clay. It's been really fun watching this come alive, so let's get into it. The first thing we are going to do is to remove the support armature under our friend's foot. We do this with a pair of side cutters and then use a hacksaw to cut out the armature so it's flush with the level of the base. The hacksaw I'm using is probably overkill, but it's just what I had at hand. Miss Fox has been sitting around for a few months and I noticed this little crack had developed. So we have to fix this before we can add paint. Cracking in polymer clay is quite rare, but it can happen. The good news is that it's easy to fix. To fix the crack, we can use some moulding paste. This stuff is like wall filler and is quite flexible. Once the crack is filled, we can smooth it out with a flat paintbrush and allow this to dry. Of course, it can be speed dried with a hairdryer. Once this is dry, the next thing we have to do is to clean or at least dust off the surface. We can then apply a mix of Payne's Grey and burnt umber over our friend. Add a touch of water so that it flows smoothly. This coat will provide tone as well as underpainting, but also act as a gesso so that consecutive coats adhere more tenaciously. Stay inspired and don't miss a video from us. Subscribe and leave a comment below with what you'd like us to create next. We'd love to hear from you. Next we dry brush on a mix of titanium white and yellow ochre. The trick with dry brushing is to charge your brush and then wipe the excess off onto a paper towel and then lightly apply the paint. Make sure to try not to get it into the grooves of our friend's coat, and remember to leave the tip and the base of the tail free from this lighter tone. We also leave the ears, tips of the hind legs and forelimbs dark. Fennec foxes have extraordinary hearing to locate prey under the ground. Their large ears, which are usually 4 to 6 inches long, help to dissipate excess body heat on hot days. We then darken the mix with some burnt umber and paint it onto the underside of the belly. Next we create a watery mix of burnt umber over the top to provide some warmth. Have you created one of our projects? Make sure you send us a photo. We love seeing your creations. We then paint in the nose. To do this, we create a mix of white, pink and a touch of burnt umber. We use this mix to paint the paw pads also. Add a little bit of water to the mix if you want it to flow. We're happy with how our friend looks, we just need to work on the environment now. To create a rough sandy look to the environment, we are going to use some of this sand texture medium. It's best to use a palette knife to spread out the texture medium. Another way to create sand is to lay down a coat of PVA and sprinkle fine sand over the glue. I have done this many times before. The only problem with this method is that the glue self-levels, so the surface is flat. Whereas with sand texture modelling paste, you have the ability to model the surface with risen bits here and there. The fennec fox appears to be the only carnivore in the Sahara Desert able to live without freely available water. To smooth the sand around the feet, we can use a brush to neatly press the sand medium up to each foot. At this point, we also add some paw prints, and then once we are happy, we let the sand texture medium dry. To paint the sand, we create a peach sort of tone from orange, raw sienna and titanium white, and lay this over the base and down the side of the base too. And voila! Well, thanks for watching. We hope you're inspired by what you've seen. If you've liked this project, we've got loads more on our website. Jump online to check out our Create blog and sign up with Creative Connection to get lessons, inspo, tips and more sent directly to your inbox. Staying inspired doesn't have to cost a cent.